Okay, hello everybody, today we're here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in Just Flight's Piper Warrior 2. We are doing another subscriber request. Today's is for Michael Riemann 4655, who requested a night flight over his home city of San Diego. To accomplish that, we'll fly a real-life unpublished Bravo transition, which will allow us to get low and fly right along the San Diego skyline. It should be a fantastic VFR flight, so let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. Alright, this is Just Flight's Piper Warrior 2, which has recently been updated to work with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So we'll get on the red cabin light here, just so we can see what we're doing, and turn on the panel lights. This has great night lighting, I love it, which is one of the reasons I chose it for this trip. So we'll head down here, we'll check that all of our switches are off. Our throttle is to idle, mixture to idle cutoff, carb heat is cold, our parking brake is set, trim is set to take off. There we go. We'll open up the little window here. There we go. Check that the prop area is clear. Clear prop. Head back down here, mixture to full rich. We'll crack the throttle. Turn the fuel pump on. Normally I would prime it, but I can't seem to get the primer to work with the mouse. Maybe it's a little bug here. Fuel pump's off, keys in the ignition, crank it over. Alright, check our oil pressure. We do have oil pressure, RPM's at 1,000. That all looks good. We can lean the mixture now for ground operations. Alright, that's all set up. So next, we're going to get our avionics on. That's the switch right here to the right of the yoke. We'll turn on our radios. We've got a very old school Garmin 100 GPS here, so we'll turn that on, even though we're not really going to use it. We'll turn on the DME, why not? Close up the window, and then we'll dial in our frequencies and get our ATIS.
Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport, information Papa. 2153 Zulu. Wind 240 at 8 gusting 19er. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, clear. Temperature 20. Dew point 11. Altimeter 29er. Density altitude 1000 feet. Arriving and departing runways 28 right, 23, 28 left. Advise on initial contact. You have information Papa.
Alright, we've got a complex flight today, so let's go through the flight brief. So we need to manage San Diego's Bravo airspace, which is complex. We are taking off from Montgomery, which is a delta. If we switch to the VFR flyways, it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing. So the Bravo here starts at 4,800. There's a surface section. Then the south part of the Bravo is 2,800, plus North Island's delta goes from surface to 2,800. There is a flyway that lets us cut through that. It goes from 3,400 to 4,600. That's this section here. But that would have us, 3,000 to 4,000 feet, which isn't great for the skyline. So to get around that, we're going to fly a series of real-life unpublished Bravo transitions. These don't appear on any of the sectionals, but if you pull up YouTube videos, you can see locals flying them all the time. We'll depart from Montgomery, fly to Mount Soledad, follow the shore south to Crystal Pier, and request the shoreline south transition at 500 feet from Lindbergh Tower. They'll clear us into the Bravo and tell us to report OB Pier. We'll get a handoff to North Island Tower and request the Bay Shore transition south. At Loma Point, they'll ask us to say intentions. We'll request a 180 at Coronado Bridge and then request the Lindbergh Delta transition north. We'll be instructed to climb to 1,500 and overfly the Delta taxiway at Lindbergh and then continue on to Mission Bay. From Mission Bay, then we'll make a direct line right back to Montgomery where we will land. It's a lot of handoffs and altitude changes in a very short period of time, but it should be awesome. Montgomery ground, Warrior 8289 Alpha, ground air, taxi for west departure with information Papa.
Warrior 89 Alpha, taxi to runway 28 right via Hotel Bravo, maintain runway heading to 1200 feet after departure.
Taxi runway 28 right via Hotel Bravo, maintain runway heading to 1200 after departure, Warrior 89 Alpha. The altitude and runway restriction are the real-life noise abatement restrictions for this airport, so that's cool that that's encoded in intentions.
Over to 28 right via Juliet Hotel Bravo, cross 28 left at my discretion for Beechcraft 251 Tango.
Alright, we'll check that we are clear. Clear on my left, clear on my right, straightforward. Release the parking brake, we'll test our brakes, they work. And I am using my Thrustmaster rudder pedals once again, and each aircraft needs to have its own unique sensitivity set up for them, so I could feel that they're still a little too sensitive for the Warrior here, but we'll adjust it. Alright, we're coming up here on runway 28 left at Bravo, which we aren't cleared to cross. We're going to need to stop here and contact ground to get permission.
Gulfstream 671, Golf Sierra, hold short of taxiway Echo traffic on final approach. Holding short of taxiway Echo Gulfstream 671, Golf Sierra.
Montgomery ground, Warrior 8289 Alpha, holding short runway 28 left at Bravo, request permission to cross.
Warrior 89 Alpha, cross runway 28 left at Bravo, approved.
Cross runway 28 left at Bravo, Warrior 89 Alpha. Alright, we're going to stop up here at the hold short for 28 right and do our run up. Got a lot of traffic around here, which is pretty cool. Alright, parking brake is set. Mixture coming into full rich. Check our flight controls. Flight controls are free and correct. And this is an abridged run-up that I do here for each of my videos, just flight controls, magnetos. There's actually a lot more that you do during the run-up phase. There, we'll check our mag drop. And we've got good drops for our mags. That's modeled nicely. Check our carb heat, and carb heat unfortunately isn't modeled. We should get a nice 50 RPM drop there. So we'll turn off our light. And we've got 2 planes on final, 1 on short final. So we'll just watch their landing.
371 Bravo Charlie, hold short of runway 09, awaiting further clearance.
Holding short of runway 09, Warrior 371, Bravo Charlie.
And Montgomery Tower, Cessna 75 Foxtrot is on final for runway 28 left.
97 Lima Delta for mic check.
Caravan 87 Lima Delta. Hey Louis, the boys in the FBO told me you were new here. Welcome to Say Intentions. Cessna at Montgomery Tower. Say again your last transmission unclear.
Montgomery Tower, Warrior 8289 Alpha, holding short runway 28 right at Bravo, ready for departure.
Warrior 8289 Alpha, Montgomery Tower, runway 28 right, winds 200 at 7, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 28 right, Warrior 8289 Alpha. Alright, we've got one more on final, but we are cleared for takeoff and one on the downwind here. And I love that there's all of this traffic at this field and that it is flying the pattern. And that I had to wait my turn to get out, which was fantastic. So we'll get all lined up here on 28 right. And we're going to fly due west for our initial heading for Mount Soledad. We're going to climb to 1,800 feet just to maintain proper vertical clearance over congested areas. And then once we get to the shoreline, we're going to descend to 500 feet because that's what our shoreline transition will be for the San Diego Bravo. Now, I will say, in real life, I think the idea of flying 500 feet over water offshore at night is a really good way to die. So I'm not sure if people actually do this transition at night or if it's just limited to the day, but I wouldn't do it at night. Fortunately for us, we are in a simulator and we have infinite lives, so let's give it a shot. It should look awesome. Alright, we've hit our 1,800, so we'll level out here until we get to the shoreline. I'll be quiet for a little bit and let you enjoy that awesome nighttime scenery.
Speedbird 212, runway 27, winds 230 at 5. RNAV, wind field, cleared for takeoff.
Lindbergh Tower, Warrior 8289 Alpha, Crystal Pier, 500 feet, request shoreline south transition.
Warrior 89 Alpha, you are cleared into the San Diego Class Bravo airspace for the shoreline transition south at 500 feet. Maintain VFR.
Cleared into the San Diego Bravo via the shoreline south transition, 500 feet, maintain VFR, Warrior 8289 Alpha.
Warrior 89 Alpha, frequency change approved to North Island Tower.
North Island Tower, Warrior 8289 Alpha, OB Pier, 500 feet, request south base shore transition.
Warrior 89 Alpha, You are cleared for the Bayshore transition to the south at 500 feet. Maintain VFR.
Cleared for South Bayshore transition at 500 feet. Maintain VFR. Warrior 8289 Alpha. North Island Tower, Warrior 8289 Alpha, we'd like to do a 180 at the Coronado Bridge and request the Lindbergh Delta transition north.
Warrior 89 Alpha, approved for a 180 at the Coronado Bridge and climb to 1500 feet. Lindbergh Delta taxiway transition to the north is also approved.
180 at Coronado, climb 1500, Lindbergh Delta north transition approved, Warrior 8289 Alpha. Montgomery Tower, Warrior 8289 Alpha, 6 miles west at 1500, request full stop landing with information Papa.
Warrior 8289 Alpha, Montgomery Tower, winds 200 at 7, runway 28 right, cleared to land.
Cleared to land, runway 28 right, Warrior 8289 Alpha.
Attention all aircraft, information Romeo is now current altimeter 29906.
Alright, that was awesome, and Say Intentions did a very good job. I did need to help it out by prompting it a bit, but in fairness, it was an unpublished transition, so I'm not sure how it would get the information without my prompts. So I hope you enjoy realistic general aviation content like this. If you do, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.